The quantum communication array crackled to life in the depths of Terra Command, its blue-white hologram materializing with urgent priority codes that made Admiral Adam Harrison's blood run cold. The message was brief, clinical in its horror. New Eden colony. Complete orbital bombardment. No survivors. Perpetrator, Zephyrian hegemony. Adam stared at the holographic display, his weathered hands trembling slightly as the implications sank in. New Eden had been home to 3 million souls. Farmers, scientists, children who had never seen Earth's blue skies. Now it was nothing but molten glass and ash. Admiral, Captain Kinza Malik's voice cut through his thoughts. The young Pakistani officer had been monitoring deep space communications when the distress beacon had gone silent 12 hours ago. Her dark eyes reflected the same fury that burned in Adam's chest, but tempered with the cold calculation that made her one of humanity's finest tactical minds. "They're all gone, Kinza," Adam said quietly, his voice carrying the weight of command decisions that would reshape the galaxy. Every last one of them. The Zephyrians had made a fatal miscalculation. For decades, they had observed humanity's expansion into the outer rim territories, dismissing the bipedal mammals as primitive, weak creatures barely worthy of notice. Their crystalline intellects, evolved over millennia of dominance, could not comprehend the depth of human emotion. The bonds that tied scattered colonies across hundreds of light years into something approaching a family. They had expected humanity to negotiate, perhaps withdraw from disputed territories. They had not expected what came next. Within 18 hours of New Eden's destruction, the largest military mobilization in galactic history began. From the shipyards of Luna to the orbital foundries of Proxima Centauri, humanity's industrial might, built over centuries of survival, adaptation, and stubborn refusal to accept limitations, roared to life. Adam stood in the primary briefing amphitheater of Terra Command, addressing the assembled fleet commanders via quantum link. Behind him, a massive holographic display showed the growing armada, sleek destroyers emerging from Earth's orbital yards, massive dreadnoughts powering up their fusion drives in the Jupiter system, and the pride of human engineering, the Vengeance-class battlecruisers, each one capable of glassing a small moon. 500,000 ships, Adam announced, his voice carrying across dozens of star systems simultaneously. Every warship humanity has ever built, and every new one rolling off our production lines. The largest fleet in known history, united for one purpose. Captain Kinza stood at the tactical display, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces as she coordinated the impossible logistics of moving 500,000 vessels. Supply chains stretched across 70 star systems. Ammunition depots worked around the clock, and fusion reactors burned bright enough to be seen from neighboring galaxies. "The Zephyrians don't understand us," Kinza said during one of their late-night planning sessions, her voice steady despite the exhaustion etched in her features. "They see our emotions as weakness, our bonds as inefficiency. They calculate that we'll make rational decisions based on cost-benefit analysis." Adam nodded grimly. "They're about to learn the difference between rational and human." The Zephyrian hegemony controlled a vast swath of the galactic arm, their crystalline ships patrolling territories that spanned 50 star systems. Their technology was advanced, their tactics refined over millennia of conquest. They had never faced an enemy that fought not just for territory or resources, but for something far more dangerous: the memory of their dead. When the human fleet finally moved, it was like watching a force of nature unleashed. 500,000 ships arranged in battle formations that stretched across light years began their inexorable march toward Zephyrian space. At their head flew the Terra's Wrath, Adam's flagship, with Kinza coordinating the largest naval operation in galactic history from her command station. The first engagement came at the Kepler 442 system, where a Zephyrian patrol fleet of 300 vessels intercepted the human advance. The crystalline beings, confident in their technological superiority, expected to delay the human force while their main fleets repositioned. They lasted 47 minutes. Human tactics, evolved from centuries of warfare and refined by bitter necessity, proved devastatingly effective. While Zephyrian ships relied on individual superiority, human vessels fought as a coordinated organism. Destroyers swarmed like angry hornets. Cruisers provided overlapping fire support. and dreadnoughts delivered killing blows with weapons that turned matter into its constituent atoms. But it was the humans themselves that truly terrified the Zephyrians. Captain Kinza watched the tactical displays as human crews performed miracles of engineering and courage, nursing damaged ships through impossible repairs, fighting on when any rational beings would have surrendered, driven by a fury that the crystalline minds could not comprehend or counter. The hegemony's response was swift and desperate. Their main battle fleet, 2,000 of their finest vessels, moved to intercept the human armada at the Vega system. It was a force that had conquered dozens of species, led by commanders with centuries of experience. They faced 500,000 human ships commanded by 2 people who had watched their family die. The Battle of Vega lasted 6 hours and redrew the galactic map. When the fusion fires finally cooled, the Zephyrian hegemony's military might was scattered debris drifting in the void. Of their grand fleet, 17 ships limped away, carrying news of humanity's terrible vengeance to their crystalline masters. Standing on the bridge of Terra's wrath, surrounded by the silent monuments of human fury stretching to the horizon, Admiral Adam Harrison received the hegemony's surrender. Captain Kinza stood beside him, tears streaming down her face as she thought of New Eden's children who would never play among alien stars. The galaxy had learned a lesson that would echo through the centuries. Humanity's greatest strength was not their technology or their tactics, but their refusal to let their dead be forgotten. In unleashing 500,000 warships, they had announced to every species among the stars that those who harmed human families would face not just an enemy, but an entire civilization willing to burn the galaxy to ash for the sake of those they loved. The Zephyrians had wanted to test human resolve. They discovered instead that some sleeping giants should never be awakened.